I dag viste Flying Wild Hog fram sitt nye sci-fi action looter shooter-spill, Spacepunks. Og i går så var jeg så heldig at jeg fikk være med på en presentasjon hvor spill ble vist frem for oss i pressa, og jeg fikk anledningen til å intervjue to av utviklerne, som da denne videoen handler om. Bare et par sånne korte fakta om spillet. Det vil være free to play. Det er en 4-player co-op looter-shooter, men satt i isometrisk perspektiv. Så på en måte så, noe jeg snakker om i intervjuet, er at Borderlands møter Diablo, eller Helldivers på en måte, som virker med litt sånn eksentriske figurer, sånn som Borderlands har hatt i sin tid. Virker veldig spennende. Jeg har ikke fått prøvd så mye av spillet ennå, men jeg fikk se en del av det i går, og jeg har fått kode til det. Så jeg skal sjekke mer ut av spillet før denne videoen går live. Det er, som jeg tror jeg nevnte, free to play. Spillet går i early access nå ganske så snart, 14. juli. Og så skal det bli en åpen free to play beta til vinteren, ikke helt spesifisert datoen der. Og så alt dette skjer på Epic Games Store. Så spillet er eksklusivt Epic Games Store i 1 år. Og så til neste år så kommer det i full release på PC og konsol. Og ja. Forhåndsbestillinger av The Founders Pack, da, som er den eneste måten du kan garantere at du kommer inn i spillet allerede nå i Early Access-perioden, begynner i dag. Og for å finne ut mer om det, så kan du gå på www.playspacepunks.com. Så uten noe videre om og men, her er intervjuet mitt med Bartek og Michał. So, we're here with Bartek from Wild... Oh, no, of course I'm gonna...
Flying Wild Hog.
Flying Wild Hog. I was gonna say Wild Hog Flying or something like that. Yeah, and you just revealed Spacepunks, an isometric... what do you call it? A dungeon crawler or like a looter shooter?
It's looter shooter, basically. Yeah, a twin-stick looter shooter.
And by all accounts, it looks pretty awesome. Could you go into what the concept of the game is?
Yeah, so basically it's kind of the frontier story when you have a bunch of misfits that go to the previously unexplored part of space to basically gain fame and glory and earn a lot of money.
Yeah.
Also making a lot of explosions and having some fun.
Yeah. Explosion seems to be rife in the game based on the gameplay trailer that I saw earlier. I've only just dipped my feet into the game, but it looks promising, and I'm looking forward to diving more into it. So in the presentation that I saw, they were talking about like inspirations from like Helldiver and games like that, and so yeah, you got this isometric viewpoint, and so is it like trying to bring the looter shooter back to where it came from in a way, because sort of Borderlands and games like that sort of came off of Diablo. And then is that sort of
kinda, yes, because basically we will have this kind of classic style of controls, because we are mainly let's say focusing on using gamepad, but of course you will be able to use mouse and keyboard. So yeah, basically, first thing, we want to have very strong action element, so fast movement, fast-paced action. You will need to, react to your enemies. It will be more action-focused than an RPG focus, but also the RPG elements will be very heavy. Yeah, you'll have the whole crafting system that will allow you to create your own customized weapon. You will have the character progression, so character skills will progress, as well as characters' talents. Will also be you'll be basically building your build based on those.
Yes, yeah. And it being 4-player, I'm guessing just by what I saw, you have to choose individual characters. There's you can't have like 2 of Finn or 2 of Eris.
You can.
You can.
Okay. You can. Yeah. When you are playing, like in trailers, we want to show like all of our characters because of that. But you can play basically as all Dukes or all Finns or all.
Well, that's great to know. So, but because what I understood, there was like synergies involved in like between characters and stuff like that. But
yes, basically, when you are playing with like, for example, a whole party of the same character, you won't be able to use synergies, but it's a trade-off basically.
Mm. And just this is a very question from my viewpoint here, but because it says one of the bullet points you have is an infinite armory, or just have like lots and lots of weapons, which is a sort of a classic thing. Is the weapons like randomized in forms of drops with stats and stuff like that?
Yes, we have, of course, we have different weapon rarities. Each of our weapon types can have comes in different rarities. Each rarity have different stats, but also within rarities, the stats are randomized.
Okay.
Yeah? We also try to make each of our weapons basically unique. Yeah, each of our ranged weapons will have unique projectile mechanic. Each of our melee weapons will have unique heavy attack. Yeah. And on top of that, we'll have also a system of weapon perks that basically change dramatically how you play with a certain weapon. For example, you have a weapon that is like a railgun. Yeah. So, for example, you shoot, and in basic mechanic, it goes through the enemies and deals damage to each enemy. But when you add the bullet bouncing perk, then your laser starts to basically bounce off of the walls, and hit different enemies. So it changes the way you play your character, your weapon.
Yeah, great. And as for the characters, I saw you had this like huge talent tree, which seems very like old school to me in a way. That really speaks to me. And that was just so under construction for now.
It is under construction. We'll be basically working on that through the early access to open beta. We have some plans regarding like mixing and matching things with talents and skills, but we'll see where it goes.
Yeah. So I see we're almost running out of time here. So you're going into early access now, and then it's going to be open beta winter season, and then consoles next year, sometime next year.
Yep.
Yeah, and you're just looking forward to letting players into try this game.
Yes, but we're super excited about building it with people, because basically, as it was mentioned, one of our pillars is the living world, and we want to basically create the living world with our players, with our community. We want to build this community. Because of that, we basically decided to start that early, to go with early access. Because in current state of the game, we'll have, let's say, a kind of previews of different systems and things, and basically want to ask our players, hey, do you want more of this and maybe more of that? Do you want us to more focus on the mission stuff, or maybe you want to give more things to the skills and so on. So we want it to be
because the game, which we didn't talk about, it's free to play. It's going to be, and then with loot boxes and stuff like that.
Not really, because basically, I will say how it will work. in the early access, we are only monetizing the founders pack. So basically, if you want to pay for our game, you will get some skins, you will get some legacy vanity items, so you'll be able to show off that, hey, I'm here from the start. And that's what. Other than that, we want to focus on the, let's say, monetization that you can see in games like Path of Exile or Warframe. So mostly vanity item focused. We plan to implement Battle Pass in the future. So this kind of stuff. We don't plan, as for now, any let's say more dubious monetization stuff.
I didn't want to make that claim, but that's the model you're going for, which sounds great. And how long have you been working on this game?
3 years, I think. It will be now. It was on and off with with Jagex.
Been hard with the like the lockdown situation and stuff like that, I guess.
It was hard. You know what? Because it was hard for us, to go to the year and a half. Lockdown, out of lockdown, lockdown, out of lockdown. It was hard for people with families. It was hard for people without families, let's say. But I think as a studio, we've kind of passed the exam, because it's super cool how we were able to, super fast go, evacuate the studio. So switch to work from home. It takes us a few days. I don't remember how much it was, 2-3 days, and then a week to start working again. And it was also very how to say it, empowering experience in this chaos. That you are able to go through that, and you have control at least on this.
And I mean, from going from not hearing about the game to seeing the trailer and stuff like that, I'm really excited about what you got going on here. So, as you say, having to complete that exercise, the exam, as you said, it has a very good start, and I hope it goes very well for you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah. I think that'll have to do it for now, and thank you for taking time to.
Also thank you.
Recording. So I'm here with Michał. You're the studio lead at Flying Wild Hog.
Head of Flying Wild Hog Krakow. And a game director for Spacepunks.
And, congratulations with the reveal of the game.
Thank you.
It looks really, really cool.
We're really excited about this moment.
I just recently spoke to one of your colleagues about the monetization and the sort of like the talent tree and synergies and stuff like that, right? So I don't know how much more I got questions about it. I'm not.
You probably spoke with Bartek,
He
knows everything about systems.
But just the concept behind it, and I like the stuff. Your inspirations. Me and him spoke a little bit about Helldivers, but like the art style, I found to be really grabbing me when I just dove into the game here for a couple of minutes before the interview. Is there any inspiration from comic books or any special the way the art of the game looks?
I mean, comic books, that was one of the things we were inspired by. But actually, the end result, it was a long way with lots of iterations. The thing we were struggling with was the readiness, how to clearly see what is happening on the screen, because the game itself is really fast-paced. And there's lots of things happening on the screen, especially if you're playing with three other friends. There's lots of explosions everywhere. So at some point we need to figure it out how to make sure that you know what is happening.
The readability you were talking about there. Just another video popped in on the side here.
I just am confused.
I was as well. But.
I just muted.
I did as well.
Okay. So maybe I will continue on what's the
continue,
idea
please.
behind it. So at some point we had to figure it out that we need to work on this, how to read the game. So we figured out maybe let's add the overlay. So it will help to separate layers from each other, and that was great idea. Then we need that we want to enhance the over-the-topness of the game, the fun that there's a punk and rock music playing in the background. So we cannot go with hyper-realistic or something sad. We need enhanced colors. We need to stylize a little bit so we don't have to upgrade the visuals every year, but because games that are hyper-realistic, at some point they need to be upgraded because technology is rushing all the time. So we decided to go with a styling a little bit, and enhance colors, because that helps with reading the game during lots of explosions and particles.
And I'm guessing also we're in a chip shortage, which graphic cards and stuff like that. And how demanding of a game will it be for the platforms? Being a free-to-play game, I'm guessing you want that bar as low as possible, but still for the game to be a looker, I guess.
Yeah, so like you mentioned, we're gonna aim the lowest spec possible, but the game still needs to look decent.
Yeah, and it needs to bring people into it.
At this point, I think the recommended spec is like GPU something similar to 2060. The minimum spec, I'm pretty sure it runs pretty smooth on 970, pretty old GPU, but it runs.
Yeah, that's
not bad. We didn't do any advanced optimization pass yet. We did some to make sure that the game is stable with no big spikes. But we're gonna work on that during closed beta. Early access.
Yeah, me and Bartek spoke a little bit about like building the game with the community in a way, and that's why you're going for early access, I believe, and you're gonna have a closed beta going up to winter sometime, and then full release next year.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then on consoles as well. Was my understanding.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so. I have a deep affinity for isometric dungeon crawlers, and so it's funny because like the looter shooter sort of spun off out of the isometric dungeon crawler, but a lot of them were first person, and now you're sort of bringing it back to isometric.
Exactly.
So can you talk about a little bit about like where you guys are coming from with this game? I understood Helldivers was one of the inspirations.
I wouldn't call it as an inspiration. It was mostly this moment when you're playing a game and then with your friends, and you're like having a beer and talking like, it would be awesome to have like katana in here, and I would speed up the whole gameplay 3 times more. Yeah, and we should add like orbital strikes everywhere. That was this moment when we figured out, okay, we should do exactly the game that we were just speaking about. And it was during playing Helldivers. So I wouldn't call it like a
not an inspiration, but
it was the spark.
Spark, yeah.
Exactly. And basically, there was another thing because when we dive into this topic, we figured out that actually top-down games we can split into 2 categories. The first one is a melee fight for games like Diablo or Path of Exile, and then there are shooters, twin-stick shooters like Helldivers or Ruiner, for example. But there is not really a cool game that combines those 2. And we as a Hogs, we already did that. We did that with Shadow Warrior 1, Shadow Warrior 2, and Hard Reset. So I'm pretty sure we know how to combine melee and range combat. So we just use this experience we had from previous games and we use it to create space punks.
Yeah, and speaking of your other catalog, it seems to be going very well for Wild Hog. Shadow Warrior 3 coming up.
Evil
Road
West.
to what was it? Road to
Trek to Yomi.
Track to Yomi. Yeah, that was one on that was on Devolver's stage on E3 or was it Xbox? It was. It looks cool, and this is cool. So it's you're in a the word. Yeah, it's going well for you. I'm gonna say. So yeah. Anything more you want to get into about Space Punks? I'm just really dying to play it for myself.
Yeah, we still got like several days until 14th.
Yeah. Yeah, so on the 14th you're entering closed beta. On
early access exclusively on Epic Games.
Yeah, so people will be able to buy into that.
There will be two ways how you can access the game. The first one is by buying Founders Pack, and the second one is through media. Let's say because you can receive a key from Spacepunks Reddit channel, Spacepunks Discord channel, through our Spacepunk website. So yeah, there is some possibilities how you can get the key. Of course, the access will be limited because we need to test lots of technical things during the early access. So we cannot open the game for 1 million players day one, right? Because we need to work on scaling the servers. We need to make sure that the infrastructure is there and is prepared. That's why we need early access. And there's also the early access is really important from the perspective that we as developers, we got lots of questions to the players that we need answers for. For example, hey, do you like the game? Do you like the idea for the game? Do you like the idea for this character? Do you like idea for this weapon, this type of activities? That's the period that we need to find answers for those questions from community, so we can start shaping the game the way players want.
Yeah. It's I think going into early access with like if you have like the game envisioned before you, but you're also letting players in to sort of bounce ideas off of
exactly.
in a way.
Yeah, we just want to use early access the way it meant to be used.
Yeah, and just pointers for me, just keep Finn the way he is, because I'm a big Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan and he reminds me of Bebop, so just keep him the way he is.
Yeah, Cowboy Bebop, it's one of our reference.
Yeah. I was thinking Bebop and Rocksteady from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh yeah, this one's also awesome.
Yeah. Yes, and so daunting to bring it to early access, and I just going by my reaction to the game, you're gonna be fine. But I guess there's always a bit of trepidation while revealing a game like this.
Yeah. It's a mix of all kinds of feelings when you're revealing, because you're afraid. Oh my God, what players will think about it? Like, oh, it's still unfinished. We got so much things to do. But hey, we're gonna work on a live game. So that's awesome thing, because all our ideas can be created. We can release them. It's just a matter of time. So we can push it into update number 3, 5, 10, 100, 1,000. That's really cool about working on live games. Yeah.
And you've partnered with Jagex, who is people who probably know from RuneScape. And can you talk a little bit about how that relationship came to be? Because you're was Coke Media originally, or I've seen who you've been working with previously with Shadow Warrior.
So maybe I will talk about the Jagex relationship.
Yeah, we can speak with Jagex.
How we work daily. So we as a Hawks, we never work on live games. I'm pretty sure we know how to deliver pretty good premium game, but when it comes to create a game that's supposed to be live and living for years, that's a totally different story. That's a thing when we need to partner up with someone who got this experience already. And Jagex is the only one who got 20 years of experience on not only running the runscape, because that's just like a part of the job. But there's like lots of things happening behind the game, like player support, like technology guys, like analytics department, and we had to learn how to use those tools to sustain the game, how to use servers that we need to push the game on. So that was the know-how that we had to learn from Jagex, and that speed up us for years.
Yeah, that's you go to the people who know, I guess, and learn from them. Well, I see we're running out of time here, Michał, and I want to thank you so much for taking time to answer some questions, and I'm really looking forward to trying your game here.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
Ja. Så det var altså intervjuet mine med Bartek og Michał. Jeg vil takke deg for at de stilte opp til intervju, og takke Jagex og deres partnere for å ha satt i stand muligheten at jeg fikk til å snakke med dem. Kjempegreier. Som dere neste år så er ikke jeg verdens mest erfarne når det kommer til intervju, men jeg prøvde så godt jeg kunne, og jeg føler jeg fikk svar på litt av de tingene jeg lurte på rundt spillet. Sånn uten å ha spilt, så er det alltid litt vanskelig å vite hva du skal spørre om. Og av og til så havner du litt ut på viddene i sånne intervjusettinger, men de hjalp så godt de kunne. Erfarne folk som har mer trening i det enn jeg har, så da. Hvis du har mer for oss på spillet.no, så finner du oss på Facebook, bare spillet.no. Jeg finner meg finner du på Twitter på @andylon. Og ja, selvfølgelig på hjemmeadresse på www.spill.no. Så med da, så takker jeg for meg, og takk for at du ville se denne videoen for oss.